All right, it's finally time. We're gonna watch dinosaur movies.
Hey Jack, do you remember the 90s?
Do 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 do. Yeah, I do.
More specifically, do you remember Jurassic Park?
Oh, Jurassic Park's a great one.
Jurassic Park's a great movie, right? I'm gonna say Jurassic Park is the worst thing to ever happen to dinosaurs. And that includes when they all died. Because in the wake of Jurassic Park, there was a renewed interest in dinosaurs. We have all these dinosaur movies, Jack.
Dinosaur
I mean, there's 3 pre-hysteria movies.
Ooh.
Adventures in Dinosaur City.
That sounds awesome. A whole city made of...
And of course, who could forget Dennis the Menace Dinosaur Hunter?
Are we gonna watch this?
We're not watching that one.
Oh, fuck it.
So we're not gonna watch those movies. Maybe we'll save some of them for another day. I don't know. But we do have 3 shitty 90s dinosaur movies.
Our first movie is Theodore Rex, starring Whoopi Goldberg and John Goodman. Let's see what this movie's about. The world's toughest cop is getting a brand new partner, and he's a real blast from the past. Because he's a dinosaur.
Because I get the, yeah.
Okay, Academy Award winner Whoopi Goldberg
Oh man.
is the perfect comic partner in this hilarious futuristic family comedy about a cop and a dinosaur on a mission to save the world.
Do you think she ever made an attempt to get them to take off the Academy Award winner part?
Yes, I'm sure she said, no one's gonna.
She won an Academy Award for Ghost, right? How long after her Academy Award for Ghost was this movie made?
Well, this was 1995.
Okay.
So 5 years after winning an Academy Award.
That's all it takes, huh?
Whoopi stars. Sorry.
Look at Cuba Gooding Jr. After he won that Academy Award, nothing but dinosaur movies.
Absolutely. Yeah. He was on the Ship movie with dinosaurs.
I know he was in that one where he trained dinosaurs to drive a sled.
Yeah, that was a good one. Whoopi stars as a smooth-talking, take-care-of-business cop on the rise. But when she teams up on a high-profile case with the Tyrannosaurus Rex named Teddy, I like how the back is just like, this is what happened.
Well, what can you do? This is what happens in the movie. You can't get around that. They're not going to try and pass it off as something else.
She's on a high-profile case with a Tyrannosaurus Rex named Teddy. She blows her cool. What? Sorry, I'm going to take this whole sentence over again.
Please don't.
But when she teams up on a high-profile case with a Tyrannosaurus Rex named Teddy, she blows her cool. The bumbling, 3-toed dinosaur can't even find his own tail, much less a clue.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's going to be wacky.
Oh, no. Dinosaur slapstick? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Awkward rubber puppet suit dinosaur slapstick. This is going to be the best.
Rex, T-Rex.
I'm sorry.
Now, do all Tyrannosaurus Rexes have the last name Rex? Or is that just a horrible coincidence?
He's a dinosaur.
Come on, Coltrane. He graduated from the academy just like you did.
He's a dinosaur.
You're not a speciesist, are you?
That made Rich really upset. Rich, how do you feel about ham-fisted social commentary?
I hate it.
All right.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
I thought you people, ate meat.
Was Whoopi Goldberg comfortable doing this? We're gonna make a movie where you're playing a racist.
Was she dating Ted Danson at this point?
All right, Jack, our next film is Carnosaur, produced by Roger Corman. Slapped together quickly to capitalize on the recent success of Jurassic Park.
Sure, the Velociraptor craze of the mid-90s.
And this film also stars Diane Ladd, who is Laura Dern's mom in real life. Laura Dern was, of course, in Jurassic Park.
Who's Laura Dern?
She's in Wild at Heart. She's in tons of stuff. She's a great actress. Everyone knows who Laura Dern is, except for you.
I know who Laura Dern is.
Shut up, Rich.
Dang.
Well, the interesting thing about this is that it was given a thumbs up by Gene Siskel. This may be the first Gene Siskel-approved movie we've watched on Best of the Worst.
Oh my god.
Or critic-approved in any way, actually. But
Well, Corman usually makes at least competent movies, even though they're hilariously under budget.
yes.
So we'll see what he can do with a. Is it a full-size dinosaur? Or is
Well, if you look on the back here, you can see it attacking a bobcat. With
Oh my God.
someone awkwardly photoshopped into the bobcat. The great bestseller becomes the motion picture event of the year.
a book?
But they don't say they're talking about Carnosaur, so they may be talking about Jurassic Park. I don't know. From chicken eggs, a deranged geneticist, Diane Ladd, brings dinosaurs back to life. Hopefully the movie explains how that happens from chicken eggs.
I predict no science in this movie.
They'll say, thanks to science, these chicken eggs now produce dinosaurs.
Yep.
And that'll be the extent of it.
That'll be
Okay.
it.
A brilliant discovery till she turns the carnivores loose on a quiet town. They breed like rats. They prey like the plague. It's man against the most vicious beasts of all. And neither will survive while the other is alive.
Oh my.
So this is the exact opposite of the back of the Theodore Rex box, where they're really underselling the movie. I picture the guy typing this up just bored.
Yep.
I'm predicting there's going to be one dinosaur in this whole movie.
You think?
I have a feeling.
Nice.
What a cute little handful.
Oh, that's great.
Little Carnosaur.
It's like a killer Muppet.
Awesome. Hey! So someone had a doll collection.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, most of these types of movies, it's wise to not show your creature too much, but I just want to see this thing all the time. Jack, what are we going to watch now?
Tammy and the T-Rex.
Jack, what happens to Tammy and the T-Rex?
Tammy
Who's
and
in
the
Tammy
T-Rex.
and the T-Rex?
Terry Kaiser.
From The Weekend at Bernie's.
He's Bernie?
He's Bernie.
Oh my God, Denise Richards from 007 James Bond.
Didn't she play a nuclear scientist in that movie?
She did.
Named something Christmas?
Christmas Jones.
Christmas Jones.
Yes.
I was going to say Lloyd Christmas, but that's a completely different movie.
Tammy and the T-Rex. What do you do when you wake up and discover you've become a Tyrannosaurus Rex? What? Is that really what this movie's about? When you wake up and discover you've become a Tyrannosaurus Rex?
I hate when that happens.
This is great. Yesterday, all Michael, Paul Walker, thought about was getting a date with Tammy, Denise Richards. Today, he has to be careful not to flatten the town just by walking through it. But his biggest problem is hiding his 3-ton prehistoric body from a mad scientist.
I thought that was going in a completely different direction.
His 3-ton... hiding his 3-ton prehistoric body from a mad scientist, Terry Kaiser, who wants to make him extinct permanently. I did want to mention, though, that like extinct permanently is kind of
Redundant?
Redundant. That's a way better word
Yeah.
than
Once you're
superfluous.
extinct, you're extinct.
Once you're extinct, it's kind of permanent. That's
Yeah.
the purpose of
I'm
this.
going to kill you to death. It kind of sounds like that.
That's a good one. I like that one. Get set for a wild adventure with the most unlikely couple you'll ever meet, Tammy and the T-Rex. Oh my God, she's like in love with the dinosaur.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
That's how you're starting?
That's the first thing you let people see?
Wait.
That is a hand.
Bottom of the screen!
Yeah.
Apparently his arm, like,
It's
grew
very
18
long.
feet.
Yeah.
and,
All the
and
way down
under.
and then up.
And he's calling her.
Roar.
No.
Oh my god.
No.
Dinosaurs. Normally, this is the point where we say, hey, we watched 3 movies. The first one we watched was Theodore Rex, and then someone explains the plot of Theodore Rex. In this case, I'm going to say, does anyone remember what happened in Theodore Rex?
I could take a stab at it.
All right, it's all yours.
It takes place.
All yours.
Yes, enlighten me, please.
It takes place in a world where an eco-friendly geneticist has reintroduced humanoid dinosaurs into the world, and they live in harmony and racism. Except that's not enough. He also wants to kill all life on the planet.
They live in harmony and racism?
In harmony and racism.
It's a delicate balance, Jack.
Yeah. And he wants to kill all life, even though he introduced the dinosaurs. He went through all the trouble of introducing the dinosaurs back in the world so he can kill off the dinosaurs and the humans so he could control the future evolution of the planet.
Yeah.
That's and Theodore Rex and Whoopi Goldberg team up.
I can raise your seat.
No thanks. No. Get me down.
It's a buddy cop movie.
They team up to go to funerals and like go to a bar and talk to some kids who are playing hockey, and then eventually they crash a helicopter.
Wait. The kids are not at the bar playing hockey.
They
The way
might
you
be.
said that made it sound like they went to a bar to hang out with kids playing hockey.
I'd go to that bar.
Those are 2 separate incidents.
That would have been far more interesting.
That's true.
The child labor hockey bar?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's a big thing in the future.
Outtake.
This is Whoopi Goldberg realizing what she's gotten herself into.
It is a detective story.
Yes, technically.
And so, by the filmmakers making the story so incoherent, we get to be the detectives trying to piece together what is happening in front of our eyes. It makes perfect sense.
The first clue, or lack of a clue, is the opening text crawl, right?
Once upon a time in the future.
The purpose of the opening text crawl is to establish your world if you've got like a really complicated world and people won't know what's going on. So you might want the text to say, and then dinosaurs were created and spliced with human DNA, and then they've become citizens of the world. But the opening text of Theodore Rex, it explains everything that the bad guy's going to do.
In the opening scene of the movie. It
yes.
explains what's going to happen in the first scene.
1 hour ago, 2 workers escaped from the New Eden compound and are racing to tell the police about Kane's master plan.
You're being very specific about what. Just get to it.
This is a lot of plot.
Show them doing it.
Do you think there's an example of like a good text crawl in a sci-fi movie that helps explain
I
things?
can't possibly think of one.
But we don't know about dinosaurs, and then just a dinosaur wakes up from a dream. And that's Teddy Rex. Yes. And we're like, okay, dinosaurs? Why? And we don't know for the longest time.
We still don't know.
Why does he keep his shoes in a drawer? Is he supposed to be a quirky dinosaur?
Stumble as usual. Toothbrush action.
He's a sad dinosaur. He talks to himself.
No, and I'd like to interrupt briefly and mention when you said that dinosaurs have been spliced with human DNA. We don't know that.
We don't know that, but that's the only assumption I can make because all the dinosaurs are humanoid, human-sized, and they can talk.
Yeah, what I was thinking is that the assumption that this movie was making is that dinosaurs were always like that, and then I think one of you two was pointing that out then when we were watching it, that they made the first dinosaur and it wakes up like, what the fuck happened?
Their ability to talk, maybe, but they're still like a tenth of the size.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the thing is we discovered throughout the movie is that there's no reason for there to be dinosaurs in this movie.
I don't know if it can be said enough. We have no idea why dinosaurs are in this world.
No. And other than the fact that they wanted to make a movie with dinosaurs in it.
Well, they make a little kind of hint at that early on in the movie where they're saying, oh, we're gonna, they're about ready to clone raccoons and bring them back from extinction. Why did they do dinosaurs first?
Why would you not?
Because it's unpredictable, Rich. Bring raccoons back and see how that works. They're just gonna walk around and eat your garbage. You'll get that.
I've seen Jurassic Park. Everything will work out fine.
Red Police Headquarters.
Yeah, this is Teddy Rex. What's up? I got this strange feeling. Anything weird happen tonight?
Yeah, a murder down at the carnival graveyard.
Also, he's a psychic dinosaur. So the thing that happened in black and white in the beginning of the movie, there was a butterfly that landed on a dinosaur's nose, but that butterfly was actually a robot exploding butterfly. Which is a real sentence that makes sense in this movie.
And this really happened because, as Theodore Rex explained, all dinosaurs are mildly psychic when it comes to other dinosaurs.
I'm really glad you went back to pick up that plot detail because the movie wouldn't make a lick of sense without it.
Also, I don't want to brush over what Rich Evans has just said. These are not just dinosaurs living in the future, they are psychic talking dinosaurs.
Humanoid dinosaurs.
That concept, too, has no payoff other than it's his only motivation to go on the case.
Yes. Yeah, he wakes up in the middle of the night because he sensed something bad might have happened.
He has a dream, he wakes up, and then his cookie machine shoots a cookie at him.
Cookie! Macadamia? Yes.
Oh, that Teddy Rex! He loves him some cookies.
6 of these.
I know he's grabbing the cookies, but it looks like he's trying to eat that fucking houseplant.
Yeah. It's like the actor in the suit didn't realize how close he was to those plants, so he just kept smacking it.
So Shaft is the police commissioner who is up for re-election, and his sidekick is his campaign manager, and he says if you have a dinosaur solve the mystery of the dinosaur murder, it will do better for human-dinosaur relations because there is speciesism. People can be specious.
And one of those people that is Whoopi Goldberg.
I mean, she's got some wacky banter with her previous partner.
Oh, God, yeah.
I thought you said you had the front.
I thought you said you had the back.
Oh, like you had the front?
Like you had the back.
Thank God something ended that scene.
That was just too much witty dialogue, as far as I'm concerned.
I think Shane Black did some rewrites on this thing.
He did such a good job that a truck explodes to stop them talking.
That's the screenwriter saying, we have to stop this banter immediately.
There's no way out of it.
Abort! Abort!
Tailprint ID confirmed.
That is not pleasant looking.
The dead dinosaur gets to the morgue and they take a tail print, which discovers that this dinosaur had a wife who is a torch singer. Because in children's movies, you know, every child loves a torch singer.
Come on, let me cling, feel like a...
That's just him in drag. It's the exact same dinosaur.
Oh my God. I can't believe this is real.
It was her husband that died.
Yeah.
And she doesn't give a shit.
Immediately, she starts a romance with Theodore Rex. Immediately.
Because
In
dinosaurs
fact,
move on.
she goes back to his apartment after her husband's funeral.
Immediately after.
Immediately, she's still wearing her black dress. they're walking into the apartment buildings, and Theodore Rex is singing his cookie song.
Cookies! Cookies, 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 cookies!
Jesus of Christ.
He's excited about cookies, yet he's with a widow after she got home from her husband's funeral. Oh my God.
That's pretty much, I'm done with that.
And then we get to the fart jokes.
When the movie officially gives up.
Tiptoe. Stop with the tip. Don't tip. Just tiptoe. And what does that smell? Is that you? Stop.
Oh, he farted.
I was waiting for the fart joke. It finally happened.
Was it everything you hoped for, Rich?
It was everything and more.
Last chance.
Now he's farting on the toy maker. That's how desperate they've become.
Yeah. That's 3 fart jokes in the span of like 5 minutes. Wait. We gotta point something out. When they're establishing the relationship between Whoopi Goldberg and Theodore Rex, there's a scene where she says, why didn't you use your gun? You don't have a gun? And he's like, no, I don't have a gun. I'm a pacifist.
I don't believe in violence.
You don't believe in violence, and yet you want to be a police person.
The very next scene is him threatening to eat a guy.
Yes.
The very next scene.
Look, you!
Hey! I told you about that. Don't piss him off, okay?
What do you mean you told him
He
about
just said he was nonviolent. He just gave the pacifist speech, and now he. Oh look, there's something wrong with the animatronic. The one eye doesn't close.
Also, he's not threatening a bad guy. He's threatening a fellow police officer because they won't give him a truck.
It's a funny thing to note that a lot of things in this movie are treated, you know, plot points and this and that are treated basically for convenience. Yeah. The pacifism thing is obviously just like, he says he's pacifist, and then just whatever. Yeah. He's terrible with his tail, except for the times that he's using it to tap people on the shoulder and shit.
Watch your tail there. Look out! 1, 2, 3!
Well, he's clumsy with his tail. We already know that.
Sometimes he is an expert tail articulator, like he can use it to tap people on the shoulder so they get distracted.
So he can eat cookies.
So
He hits in 3 hockey pucks past the goalie at the same time.
That's right. He's an excellent hockey player, but then it also just knocks over random shit all the time.
Didn't I tell you to be quiet?
No minimum tail clearance.
They're really milking this tail shit. Yep.
I knew they were going to.
Okay, is there anything else left to talk about?
The forced characterization at the end.
Oh, what with the pacifism
This
thing
is
coming
the
back?
payoff, payoff for the pacifism thing, which is where Whoopi Goldberg gets shot, and apparently she's part robot.
Yes.
Because she gets paralyzed with electricity. And so Theodore has to solve the case on his own.
Katie, give me your gun. This is no time to play around. Give me it.
You might have been right. It kills me to say this. You might have been right. Use something a little better than a gun.
No, Katie, look. All this time you've been telling me.
This is motivated by nothing.
What are you telling me now?
I was wrong. Your brain. Use your brain.
When has he used his brain for anything in this movie? What convinced her of that? Oh,
you can't accomplish anything with guns. Oh wait, they just stopped me with a gun.
Yep.
Fuck this.
You have a character arc now.
Yep. That's the only reason that's in there.
Detonation minus 19.
What's the code? Come on!
So he's trying to punch in the key code, but he can't figure out the combination to get Dino Tits out of the jail. So he accidentally hits it with the tail, the conclusion to the grand tail story arc. And that's his dumb, lumbering tail busts his girlfriend out of jail. So literally, brute force wins, fuck your mind. That's the moral of the story.
His tail has more of a character arc than he does. Oh my god.
Hey! You win! That's the end of that.
So, what do you do in the next 20 years?
Oh, you mean that soon?
Oh, yucky! They did a really bad job of that.
Yeah.
That was.
See ya? The movie is insulting you for watching it now.
Oh, God! I want to die!
So our next film is Carnosaur. You explain Carnosaur.
Sure.
It's more explainable than the other two.
In Carnosaur, there's a guy who's a drunk guy that works on construction equipment that is always being hassled by the local hippies.
Hold it! I got a gun! I can't shoot for shit!
Meanwhile, Diane Ladd is making dinosaurs out of chickens. Diane Ladd is like, she's introduced as like a genetic engineering genius. The chiropractor from Ed Wood is like, where's blah, blah, blah. He spends a lot of the movie lying on tables and eating pies.
Is that not the juiciest, sweetest, freshest tasting blueberry pie you've ever tasted?
Why is this happening?
If he is trying to convince the senator of his scientific experiments, perhaps laying on the table isn't the best option.
Laying on the table, staring directly into his eyes and talking to him about pie.
Yeah, so that's his business. which doesn't really pay off at all. He's in the movie for a while.
You gotta have something to put in the movie.
Yeah. But so these dinosaurs.
I mean, you gotta have something in the movie. Never has there been a more like cynical way to look at the movie.
So the Diane Ladd apparently knows at the beginning of the movie that these chicken dinosaurs are going to be happening. So she seals off where all the chickens are, except one truck gets out.
Can we just take a moment and appreciate how great Clint Howard is?
Please.
Never seen such nervous chickens.
He has the ability to say any line with 100% sincerity.
All right now, ladies.
Even, I think these chickens seem nervous. Oh my God! Another chicken exploded. That's awesome.
An egg explodes and a dinosaur happens, and the dinosaur starts growing very quickly and killing everything with its tiny Muppet face.
The most adorable dinosaur ever.
Yes.
Yeah, so they get some good kind of gore things happening early on. The drunk construction guy sort of hits on the hippie girl.
She showed up to try and do like what?
She didn't.
Fuck up their equipment?
She didn't like the strip mining, so they were doing just things to sabotage them and hinder them. And
well, it's a great setup for what turns out to be the best part of the movie, which is all the hippies have chained themselves to all this equipment in protests, and that means when our friend the Carnosaur shows up.
Greetings, Green Brother.
Wow, big floppy rubbery fingers.
Yay, fake hands everywhere.
Oh no, he's eating that Ken doll.
whenever there's a dinosaur on the screen, I'm happy. I'm very happy. Josh, you go to work, and there's a whole bunch of people there that have been mauled by wild animals. What do?
Call the fucking cops.
No.
I don't?
No. You go to the local genetic research place dressed as a security guard with a gun.
No, that's for some reason.
For some reason, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Surprise.
So when Fella goes to Diane Ladd's place to threaten her a bunch of stuff, that's when we find out that all the ladies are getting sick, and that's evolution because they're going to squirt dinosaur eggs out their hoo-has.
Breathe, breathe, push.
Maybe you want to take a minute to try and explain it to me.
Young man, I doubt if you could possibly understand.
I just saw a woman lay an egg.
Diane Ladd's plan is to kill off all the humans by making all the ladies have dinosaurs and die in the process. Yes. And then there will just be human males and the dinosaurs will probably eat all the human males. And then the world will be better or something?
Because the world belongs to the dinosaurs. It was made for the dinosaurs.
Even though nature killed off the dinosaurs and now human beings are intervening to bring the dinosaurs back, it's all up to nature.
It is.
It's all up to nature in the form of Diane Ladd.
Don't you get it? That's the theme of the movie. The protesters protesting the strip mining that's ruining the land, and the doctor who wants to kill everybody because nature. It's a subtly and deeply layered movie with deeply resonating themes of environmentalism and dinosaurs eating people and exploding wombs
and
with
Diane
dinosaur
Ladd staying
eggs.
in one room for the entire film because they could only afford her for a weekend.
Oh, we forgot about the giant T-Rex that's just in a laser room.
The guy shows up, like his daughter was killed by the Carnosaur, and he shows up at the facility, or they find him and they bring him to the facility, and he's like, what happened to my daughter? What are you guys doing?
He works at the facility.
Does he?
Yeah, remember he was on the security.
So coincidentally, it was his daughter that died?
Coincidentally, it was his daughter. Okay. So, but either way, he's like, what are you doing to my daughter? What's going on? And then they just send him in that room to have the Carnosaur kill him. Yeah. And that's how they deal with that problem.
This movie is so fucking weird.
Diane Ladd dies because she has a dinosaur squirt out of her stomach, like Alien style.
Not just squirt out. She gives herself a C-section with her fingers.
Yeah.
That's awesome! She ripped open her own belly to birth a dinosaur. His character for the entire first half of the movie is a hopeless drunk. That goes nowhere.
That's true.
It is that part of his character is never brought up or resolved as soon as he goes to the genetic facility.
I mean, look at these mountains. You're ripping them apart, and for what? I mean, you're taking something and you're making nothing.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm not taking nothing and doing anything with it. I'm just a nightman. I just maintain the machines. I try and protect them from people like you.
The relationship between him and the girl early on in the movie is she's like, oh, we're destroying the earth, we need to not do that. And he's like, oh, whatever, I'm doing my job. At the end of the movie, what saves the day is the bobcat that he's been using to tear up the earth.
I hate wildlife.
The only way he would have had even less of an arc is if he was just drinking while doing that.
Yeah. It's the woman who has the arc when she decides fuck nature, and she gets in a bobcat and attacks the dinosaur.
That's true.
Yeah. Generally speaking, the gore effects were pretty fun. You know, they're not scared of throwing blood around.
No, there's some good gore in this movie.
And the chicken and the egg, like the green, or the dinosaur and the green goo in the chicken egg, that looked good. So there was definitely some of that. And who was it that did the effects?
Oh, it was John Beekler, who was responsible for the troll in Troll and the ghoulies in Ghoulies. He does good work.
He did a fine job. He did a fine job. He didn't. I don't know if he was in charge of the Muppet Carnosaur, but even if he was, that Muppet Carnosaur was so huggable.
Yes. So our last movie of the night was Tammy and the T-Rex. What? Jack?
I got this. Tammy and the T-Rex is about two high school sweethearts, Paul Walker and Denise Richards. But Denise Richards has an angry ex-boyfriend who doesn't want her dating other guys.
He's not just angry, he's psychotic.
Yes.
So this kid's going to jail for trespassing now.
Like, yeah, he just barged into the house.
This is a home invasion.
Are you I need to go back to jail for this.
Where's her dad?
Criminally, homicidally psychotic.
Yeah. Yes.
What would you do if you had the power to do whatever you want? Huh? What would you do?
What? What? You caught me off guard with that question.
So clumsy. So clumsy.
So when he catches Paul Walker making out with Denise Richards in her bedroom, kidnaps Paul Walker and throws him to lions.
This is technically true.
Yeah.
So, the lion mauls Paul Walker and he goes to the hospital.
These are the things that happen in the movie.
This is a real thing that happens.
This is the film.
Unbeknownst to Paul Walker, there's a mad scientist who has built a giant robot dinosaur and he wants to put a human brain in the dinosaur.
Why?
Because he has investors. That's all I got.
Bernie.
Why did they
The
want...
mad scientist is played by Bernie from Weekend at Bernie's, we should mention. But he's introduced in a scene where we see the dinosaur. We don't know what it is or why it's there. And then Bernie comes in with his people, his posse.
His sexy lady assistant.
Lady assistant and tiny man.
Muscle Man.
And they turn the thing on, and it's like, oh, it's a robotic dinosaur. And he's like, it is perfect. This is exactly, everything's going according to plan.
I, my love, will give you that freedom. I will give you everything. I will give you a brain. I will give you immortality.
We are never made clear what the plan is. We don't know why he has this dinosaur, and then that's the end of that scene. What was that?
So Bernie and sexy lady assistant go to the hospital to find a brain, and Paul Walker fits the bill. He's got a limited family, a good healthy body, besides of course the lion mauling, and overall healthy, I guess. Besides,
no damage to his brain or his spine, but he's in a coma.
So they steal Paul Walker, cut open his head, take his brain and put it in a jar of Jell-O so he can control the dinosaur from his Jell-O jar.
Why?
Because the dinosaur needed a brain.
Why?
Because he wanted his dinosaur to have a brain. He loved it so much, he wanted it to be alive.
No, you just gave him more of a motive than the movie does.
We are never told.
We are never told why he wants to put a human brain into a robotic dinosaur. Ever.
Jay, why can't you get over that?
Because it's the entire fucking reason the movie exists.
Speak to me! Success!
Paul Walker wakes up as a dinosaur and is immediately super pissed off that he's dead, or that his body is gone and he's now a robot dinosaur.
And that is understandable.
What? Huh?
Ah! There was a mirror there.
Yeah.
There was just a mirror there.
Yep.
So he goes on a murderous rampage.
Now, he instantly goes from well-mannered, wholesome teenage kid to violent, rampaging monster.
Yes.
With sock arms.
There's a dinosaur here.
That's it. Now you really made me mad.
Harry, he just squashed a man. He's coming for me.
He steps on and murders somebody.
The Muscle Man.
The Muscle Man. And then he goes to the payphone. And his tiny little sock arms that are apparently 5 feet long use the payphone to call Denise Richards.
Not only are they 5 feet long, they're also octopus-like because they can show up from any direction.
Yes.
What their intent was, I think, is very important here. Now, if they're trying to make a serious kind of horror movie, completely unacceptable.
Yeah.
Or they could have just been trying to make like a screwball comedy, and it could have been an attempt at just like a tongue-in-cheek, haha.
But we know this looks silly, and that's why it's funny.
But they failed at that if that was the attempt, because it just comes off weird.
Well, that's the biggest thing with this movie is we were never sure what the intent was, because then after that he goes to a party, even though Denise Richards is mourning the loss of her boyfriend.
At the party.
She goes to this party and just mopes, and then the dinosaur shows up and goes on a killing rampage, and that was when it became clear to us that this was clearly edited down.
What?
Sir, out here! Get some guns! Get the police! We need a gun out here! Come on! Somebody get a gun!
Not that the gore would have helped this movie any then, at all.
Thank you.
When you consider the movie as a whole, though, it's entirely possible they just did attempt horror and just fucked up that bad.
No, there's too much comedy.
Okay.
The gay black friend, isn't he hilarious? Isn't it funny when straight cops are worried that he's gonna butt fuck them?
You drop anything, don't bend over.
So that's the level of maturity of the jokes in this movie.
And then after the killing, violent rampage, then it's all getting back with the girlfriend. And it's like, it changes completely into like a romantic theme movie.
Oh yeah, he's kind of giving her flowers.
So after Denise Richards is convinced that the dinosaur is her boyfriend,
then
they go to the morgue.
Denise Richards immediately figures out how to get her boyfriend back.
She says, you know what, my boyfriend's brain is in this dinosaur. I bet if I steal a cadaver, we can put his brain into this cadaver.
She is a high school cheerleader whose boyfriend is now a dinosaur, and she immediately comes up with the plan to steal a body to put his brain in a new body.
You're all old over here.
She's trying to pick out a new body like she would pick out new shoes.
Yeah.
What do you think of this one?
Oh
no!
That's funny. Somehow the cops show up at the morgue.
because there's a dinosaur in a truck and everybody sees it.
Maybe, that's probably
Yeah.
true. That's probably true. So the cops show up at the morgue, which leads to a high-speed chase with a dinosaur head in the back of the truck.
Just the head.
Obviously, just the head.
That's all they could afford at that point. Can we point out one of the cops is played by Buck Flower, and the first time he's ever not played a homeless man.
Yeah.
They're in shock, Sheriff. You're gonna have to slap it out of them.
So they're back at the same barn. The police are there, and there's a big standoff, right?
What do you want us to do, Sheriff? Call a dog catcher. Is he kidding?
See, they don't even understand what the jokes are in this movie.
Bernie shows up and says, whoa, I got a tranquilizer gun, but then there's some back and forth banter about how the tranquilizer gun will work. Bernie's lying to them, but he's saying doctor stuff about how it'll work. None of it fucking matters!
Did you like the clever ending where once the doctor goes in with the tranquilizer gun, that the dinosaur just eats him?
Open fire!
Oh, no, you know, one thing we haven't pointed out is the first time we see the dinosaur, it's on a platform.
Yep.
Yeah,
because it's a robot dinosaur. It was fun throughout the rest of the movie to guess how they were going to hide the platform, because they clearly never took it off the platform throughout the rest of the movie.
We figured out very quickly that it was
So there's a
attached.
part when they cover the platform with tree branches. There's a part where they cover it with bales of hay.
That move in the barn.
That when he moves, those bales of hay move with it. It's very weird.
Oh, I love that.
And anytime the dinosaur is walking, it's shot from the waist up, so you can't see that the legs aren't moving unless
he just
it's-
sort of glides.
Unless you count the state-of-the-art CG where it's walking. So, they run out. The dinosaur ate a man, so the police open fire and kill the dinosaur, which is a robot.
I don't think my brain works anymore.
So then the dinosaur falls down, and Denise Richards is really upset and is crying, and everybody starts crying.
Well, now her boyfriend's died twice.
Exactly. Then we get to the epilogue, where Denise Richards comes home and she seems very chipper for having lost her boyfriend a second time.
Hi, honey. How you doing?
I missed you.
Oh, honey, I missed you too. You want the usual?
Desperately.
Okay.
What?
What?
Cheers.
Cheers to you, honey.
How can it talk?
Yeah.
There you go.
She pours booze on Paul Walker's brain and does a striptease for his camera, which is his eyes.
Show it to me, baby.
It should be pointed out too that the prop brain has actually fallen over in the jar by that point.
Well, it's drunk.
This is the end of the movie?
I kind of feel weird about this.
It's already gone over where it was supposed to anyway.
I want you. I need you.
Turn around again.
I love you too. You gotta give me a body. I can't take any more of this.
And that's the end of the movie.
Oh my God!
That's the weirdest way to end the movie.
Oh my God!
With a brain coming electricity.
See, this movie is like Rotor. It's so incomprehensible and horrible that it's fascinating.
And
to
also,
me.
like Rotor, it seems to be going for comedy and failing horribly, but not in a way, because a lot of bad comedies are just painful to sit through. But this one, like every creative decision, you're like, what? What were they thinking?
What were they trying to accomplish?
What were they trying to do? Are these scenes with Tammy getting flowers from the dinosaur, is this supposed to be sweet? Is this part supposed to be funny?
But that was extra weird because he showed her the rose and she was like, oh, a rose. But then he eats the
it.
rose.
It's like, is that a punchline?
That doesn't make sense in any way, shape, or form either. As a robot with his brain in it, you think he would just want to give her the rose and not eat the rose because the robot doesn't eat food anyway.
Right.
As a dinosaur, he would be eating meat and not flowers. So that joke doesn't make sense in any context. None.
You just blew my mind, Rich.
It's very true.
That was the worst joke in history.
So much of it.
So, Theodore Rex, Carnosaur, Tammy and the T-Rex. Much better than...
The best mid-90s example of a dinosaur movie, really.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you were to cut in the Jurassic Park theme into any of these movies? So, best of the worst, Jack.
Oh God, you started with me?
We're going backwards this time.
You're the one who paid the most attention to this shit.
You're the one who understood what was happening in the movies.
You guys should know this by now. I have a superpower to understand what's happening in movies.
Yes.
I'm really kind of torn on this. Here's what I will start with. What is definitely not best of the worst, which is Carnosaur. I thought Carnosaur was a little too good.
You're the first person in the history of the world to say that.
Me and Gene Siskel.
Gene Siskel had a good laugh after giving that a thumbs up. He's like, thumbs up. He's like, fuck it, I'm dying. Yeah. Thumbs up.
For my pick, the best of the worst is Theodore Rex.
Oh my God, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck him.
It is the movie that I would love other people to see so they can feel my pain.
Jack, you're such a hipster that even in our small group, even in our tiny little group, you just have to be the dissenting opinion.
No. Because I was most engaged with Theodore Rex. I had no idea what was happening at all times, and I pay attention to movies far more than anyone else. No other movie has made me feel as much as Theodore Rex. The feeling was pain, but it has awoken parts of my brain and then killed off those parts. It's.
I can't even begin to understand what the hell you're trying to say right now. I really can't. All right, Rich?
Oh, God. Theodore Rex is boring. Had decent budget, but very boring. Carnosaur, some fun moments. There's some good spikes of dinosaur carnage. But I gotta give it to Tammy and the T-Rex. It's just so incomprehensibly Tammy and the T-Rex. I don't know what it is, but I want to just examine it. And what are you?
Yeah.
What are you?
Theodore Rex is fucking horrible in every way, not in an entertaining way. Theodore Rex is fucking awful. Carnosaur is pretty entertaining. Tammy and the T-Rex is so weird and so dumb. I think I said it while we were watching the movie. Is this the dumbest thing we've ever watched? And I think we came to the consensus that RoboChick was dumber.
But not by much.
But not by much, and not as entertaining as I was more engaged by Tammy and the T-Rex than I was by RoboChick. So for me, best of the worst, Tammy and the T-Rex, hands down.
So Josh, unless for some strange reason you vote for Theodore Rex, there is a clear winner.
Well, here's the thing. My vote for best of the worst is Carnosaur. It was the one, it was basically what I expected when I was going in. Like, this is Roger Corman trying to capitalize, or whoever pays him, rather. He's just very efficient at it. I don't really want to blame Roger Corman for this, because he did the same thing with every movie. It didn't necessarily matter that it was a dinosaur movie. It was just Roger Corman made this movie as efficiently as he could, like he always does. That's fine. It had some decent gore effects. The acting was fine for the most part. There wasn't anybody that was terrible.
See, your decision for Carnosaur, I understand.
Still 2 votes
Two
win.
for Tammy the T-Rex, which means it wins best of the worst. Carnosaur, I would recommend, but it's not best of the worst. Who wants to burn this fucking thing?
I want to make it die.
Who wants to kill Theodore Rex?
No!
Raise your hand.
No! You can't kill Theodore Rex. It's a masterpiece.
You know what? I don't just want to kill it once, I want to kill it twice.